Update time. We are working on the truck. We're doing it again, finally. Yes. So if you notice, we have a hydraulic bump stop. It is only tack welded in, but all the brackets are cut and made exactly how I want them. It came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. You can see we're just tacked in place right now. We got the adjustment pretty much in the middle. It's looking good. It's got a nice wide footprint on this side. It's gonna extend underneath quite a bit. You can see how much it has to actually be below the frame, so you can see why we needed so much bracing on there, because it's kind of hanging down and out from the frame, so we're trying to keep that frame from twisting. Yeah, I mean, as long as we're not hitting these bump stops super hard, then it won't be a problem, but I like it. I think it's pretty cool looking. Right now, I set it up. We got it tack welded right where I want it. I've got basically 5 inches of compression. Once this is all the way up, you can see, I bled the pressure out of these so that I can move them and see what we need to work with here. But you can see we basically have 5 inches of compression, so that's what we want on these shocks. I am gonna redo these shocks also eventually. Get rid of those mounts that are hanging below the axle and move it up to the level with the axle tube, but that's another project. But yeah, we're set up, we're ready to go right here. I'm gonna leave them tack welded until I kind of cycle the suspension a little bit, just to make sure they're contacting in the right spot. I kind of got them, I think, just a hair too far back. I wanted them back and in just a hair. They are. It might be just a little bit more than I wanted, but I think it'll work out all right still. If I had to guess, it's gonna contact straight up and down. I think it's gonna be like right here. And then on actual flex, it'll probably come out a little bit right in the middle. So we should be good if we're hitting right around here. Should be all right. I'll be happy with that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. We finally got one in. So now I gotta do the other side. Let me show you how I'm doing it. So basically this is the universal Barnes bracket, Barnes 4-wheel drive bracket. I've cut this thing all the way down to mount basically like that. And you can see how much I cut it down. So I'm just using the top corner of it. I'm just using the top right, and then the bottom section I cut off, I was able to reuse, cut those down even more, and make those little wings at the top to help brace it. So worked out pretty good. Got plenty of metal, and we're not shorting it. We're not having to make do with anything. I'm pretty happy with it. And the best way I could figure out how to actually figure out where these things are gonna be striking and where they're hanging is I actually made, if you notice, it's probably hard to tell on your screen, I actually made a little plumb bob. These are a little fishing string. I used some weights clamped on there, and then we're at the top. Where we at the top there, it's going through the middle of a magnet that I have there, and I can adjust the height just by pulling basically the loose end here that has another weight. But I can adjust the height as I needed. And I know my string's not completely straight, it's got a little curl to it, but gets us in the general area. That way I can kind of, with that I'm setting it up how far in and out I need, because I want them inboard just a hair, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And then I want to set them up, what am I doing, backwards, just about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So yeah, you can see we're figuring it out. With the string here, I can hold up just the tube of the mount, and I can slide it up and I can put it right in the middle, and I can figure out exactly where it needs to be placed and take measurements. It's kind of hard to figure this out, but we're making it work, so I'm happy. It'd be a heck of a lot easier if this thing was coilovers and you could just take the springs or the coilovers out, just cycle the suspension up with no springs, and you could weld that bump stop exactly where you want it to land. Here we kind of have to measure and guess a little bit, and I don't know, it's working out though. So right now I'm not really taking too much video of me making these. I just want to get them on and done. And we're not going to finish weld them yet, like I said, until we test them out just a hair. We're not going to slam on them, but I do need to cycle the suspension a little bit. Just want to get these in. I do have a little Friday night cruise downtown today, so maybe we'll take this thing out and cruise it down there, and then people can stare at my new air bumps if they want. But yeah, we're making progress and I'm happy. All right, we're in the truck, we're cruising. There's literally a Main Street cruise going on right now in town, so we jumped in the truck and we're doing it. sun visor, I can't see squat. The sun is bright. Ain't got no visor up there. I'm the tallest one in this line. In front of me, behind me, probably can't see much back there, dirty window. Update time. I don't have a hat because it is hot. You won't see me like this very often. We are working on the front bump stops now. I've done a little bit of work off camera. We're kind of getting into it here. I had put Garrett Jenner on pause on YouTube so we can do this little update. I don't know if you guys watched Garrett Jenner, but he's a pretty good little skateboard YouTuber, blogger, whatever. I've been watching him for a long time, but yeah, he's branching out a lot into cars and now home repair type stuff. All right, let's turn this thing around, get away from my ugly mug. And this is where we're at. Take this out of the water. It's cooling off because I just cut and grinded it down. This one came out a lot better than the other one I just did. This one's a little more symmetrical. The other one came out kind of sloppy. So this is the driver's side, has the nice square panel. The passenger side has the offset because it has the two studs on one and the U-bolt on the other. So that one got a little messy, but this one's coming out pretty good. So we're getting close to welding this on here. These ones are a little easier because this plate is flat. I can put my brace piece just straight across. One piece. I don't have to worry about the other one that I had to do multiple little pieces. This one here I can go across this way. So it's working out pretty good. So we'll get that welded on here, flop it over, weld it on, and then it's done. These are going a lot quicker than the rear. The passenger side is outside drying. It's being painted, so we're just moving on here. Let's see, we got 87 degrees in this garage. Woo! So I got the fan blowing the cooled air from the inside out here. It works out pretty good. It's more manageable than outside. Outside's probably 95 right now and hot.
Some Florida stuff right there. Them walls can still get you.
All right, we'll put a JH Diesel on pause here. A little update going on. This is the driver's side here. We got it all welded up. Check it out. I'm getting to the point where maybe it looks worse on camera. I'm not as afraid to show my welds at this point as I used to be. I'm kind of getting the hang of welding here. You know, I've been doing it for a long time, but I never really paid much attention to it. But we're getting better. I mean, okay. So this piece came out pretty good. I like it. It looks pretty steady. I think this is gonna work. We need to get this one painted up, clean it up a little bit, paint it, and then they're ready to go on. Yeah, this will probably have to continue tomorrow because all I'm gonna do tonight is paint. So, yep, keep on moving. Time for treats. And me too. Don't forget yourself. This broom I picked up out there in the desert works so good. I actually needed a soft bristle broom for this smooth floor. So much better than that coarse bristle one. Love free. And we got the front plates completed. Hopefully these work because I never even took the fronts off yet, the old ones, to make sure they fit. But this is what we got. This should work out pretty good. Looks good. It's all painted, cleaned up. Ready to go, ready to be reinstalled. So next I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna pull the fronts off one at a time. I just leave it on the ground. It kind of makes it easier, kind of holds the axle and everything in place. And the only thing that would make it a little easier maybe is take off the wheels, but no, we'll see. We'll probably just sneak our head in there and just do it this way. Because I don't know, I just don't want to take the wheels off right now. So let's get these things swapped out and then we can start playing with the actual mounts for the front bump stops. Here we go, pulled the first one off. Came off pretty easy, of course. It's nice and freshly painted still. If you remember right, we hit the needle scaler on these and repainted them, and they were pretty rough. But here's the new one, ready to go in there. It is ready to rock. We just gotta probably put this U-bolt in a vise. I might have to squeeze it together slightly because they kind of stretch out a little when you torque them. I don't know if I can squeeze that in myself. I might have to bend it a little bit, but that's no big deal. So let's get this thing back together. I just realized I got extremely lucky building these things. I didn't realize that these bolts are actually offset to the back a little bit. I thought it was just symmetrical. Never really looked at it that close, but you can tell how the bolt holes are actually over. And so I actually welded this thing on correctly. I am so lucky right now that I did that. You can also notice that these are kind of over a little bit. Ah, man, I would have really hated myself if I had to cut this thing back apart, flip it over and re-weld it. Whew! We dodged a bullet on that one. Put white Aaron on pause. We got the front plate in. I'm bleeding slightly because I never cleaned up my fresh cut corners on all the sheet metal. But there we are. We are in there. Looks nice and clean in there. Everything has really good clearance. U-bolts and studs torqued down real nice now because everything just seems so much more solid than those stock ones. So now we got to go to the other side. Bam! Done. We are good. Interesting thing I didn't really realize was the top plate's actually rotated 90 degrees from the other side. So they're not completely the same, but they work. That's just kind of how it worked out because of the spacing between U-bolts on this side versus different size U-bolts and studs on that side. So it's just the way it worked out, but it works fine. Everything is perfect. So next, we got to get the bump stops mounted on the frame itself. The original plates, they're still in good shape. Obviously, they're perfectly fine. I'm going to hang on to them. Maybe I'll sell them or something. I'm definitely not going to throw these out because I know Dana 60 plates can be kind of hard to find if you're looking for original style. Obviously, aftermarket ones are easy to grab because that's what I bought and threw on this thing. But yep, we won't throw these out. If somebody really needs them, hit me up. Update time. Fan is blown because it is hot out here again. It is the next weekend, so we're working on this front again. Last weekend, I installed these plates down here. Those are perfect, ready to go. Now I'm working on getting the bump stop mounted up on the frame itself. So I've already started cutting bracket down and already made one, which is right here. We took our little tube canister off the bump stop there, and we got a bracket cut down and tack welded on. These brackets are real small, real basic. It's actually really nice. I don't have to do anything crazy like I did on the rear. Those rear ones got a little complicated. These are simple though, so I'm going to test fit this up on the vehicle, make sure it's the right amount away from the frame that I need. I need just enough room to clear the nut that goes in here, just so it doesn't, contact the frame. The frame will be like right there. It'll work perfect. So I'm just getting it as close to the frame as I can, basically. And then if it test fits good, I'm gonna pull this back off, and I think I'm gonna actually finish weld around the top because that's gonna be hard to get to once this is in the vehicle. And then, I don't know, I'll probably leave the sides open for now. Maybe throw a couple little welds inside because I'm not gonna be able to get in there once I put this thing on. And I'm still just gonna tack weld it to the frame and then test fit everything later. And if everything works out, then we'll come back and we'll finish weld all of it. Basically, it's gonna go like that. It's just gonna be up here. I gotta set the height depending on the measurement down to the bump stop there. I've got my little string with the weights hanging off it to signify where I'm gonna actually hit, which is about an inch rearward. We're real close to the center on this one, so I like that. And then I also have to cut out the inner fender there because the bump stop actually needs to go up above that a little bit. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So we're gonna find the right spot, tack this in. Matt's off-road recovery is on pause. We got bump stops. This is kind of the last piece of the suspension, besides maybe a traction bar in the rear that I gotta do someday. But yeah, we are looking good. So the driver's side is all good to go. We kind of just barely snuck in there next to the steering shaft, so that's pretty good. And this side we did have to trim out that inner fender just a little bit to give us just enough clearance to get in there, because we got to charge these things up with nitrogen still too. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I should buy my own kit to do that, but do I really need to buy a kit to do that? Maybe I'll try and find somebody local that can do it. I really don't want to have to buy more stuff at the moment, but it would be nice to be able to do it myself. I don't think it's something I need to worry about right now, unless I were to do more suspension work. If I had coilovers and crazy bypass shocks and different things like that, then maybe I would want to get my own kit. But man, I don't know. We'll see where we're going from here just to charge them up. But first, before we charge them, I need to take this thing out and cycle it, because we need to make sure that they're at least hitting in the right spot. I'm not too worried about the height as much. Hopefully they're usable. Hopefully they're not too high, but they're kind of set up for maximum shock compression, so hopefully we're using our full shock length. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess next will be test this thing, which that'll probably be another video.